So, this is the third sutta that shows there is a being. The fourth one, as I mentioned just now, if your karma is so bad, the sutta says you are going to hell, the hell beings will come up and drag you down to hell. That's why we talk about Gu Thao Be Bin, Ngao Thao Ma Min. Because some people have seen, a devotee of mine told me that the father, a few days before the father died, the father saw Gu Thao Be Bin waiting for him at the door. Yeah. Now we forget about the suttas, we talk about real life. I have a devotee in Penang, an old man. He told me years ago he had an auntie, very nasty character, full of anger and hatred. 2 days before she died, Dracula teeth came out. The Dracula teeth came out. The children saw, they got a shock. The man who told me, he also saw himself, otherwise he couldn't believe. The auntie turned into a Dracula 2 days before she died. 2 days later, she died. The teeth disappeared. What does it mean? It means the soul has left the body, leaving the flesh body there. The soul has already turned into Dracula or Pontianak. Recently, one of my devotees told me the sister married a businessman. And this businessman, because of greed, went to get this kui kia, kwai chai, toyol or whatever. And then he kept this to do business. And then he became a multi-millionaire, made a lot of money. But these people, they don't know they have to pay for it. Now he's getting old, time to die. The spirit waiting to bring him to the ghost realm, hanging around every day. He saw the spirit get so frightened, don't want to die. Hold on to life. Supposed to die, refuse to die. But as he is holding on to life, because he's already old, his face is changed into a fierce ghost. The wife also cannot recognize his face. Turn into a totally different face. Who is that? That is the soul going to take rebirth. That's why you see I said ghost, immediate rebirth. But if you are going to be reborn in heaven, your face will turn like into a Deva, Devi face. Because in the sutta, the Buddha said, if you want to be reborn in heaven, you have to change your character now until your character becomes a Deva or a Devi. The moment you die, you have already become a Deva or a Devi, even before your death. So naturally, when you die, you will leave your body as a Deva or a Devi. And then if you are a Gu Khe, Ngao Jing, before you die, you already turn into an animal inside. There's some people, just before they die, they're already behaving like animal, cry like animal, run around on all fours like animal. One devotee told me last time the neighbor used to slaughter pigs. Few days before that neighbor died, squealing like a pig, crying like a pig, running all around. They hear also all the hair stand up. So, jangan main-main, don't play. Life is very dangerous. When we listen to the Dhamma, we know these things, then we get scared, then you want to practice. If you don't know all these things, you don't want to practice. How can I say bong ti ling ling? Okay? Have I answered you? Are you satisfied?
Sounds
Let's say we are the relative of these people.
You are the what? What?
We are the relatives of these people that is going to die, and we see all these things. What can we do?
You can't do anything. That's why on Sunday night I'm going to talk why cultivation or Siu Sing is so important. You have to change your character. Siu Sing is Siu Sing way. Change your character. So, the character that you are when you're going to die will determine where you go for rebirth. So, last minute, you can't do anything. Too late already. The soul already formed already. I tell you, there's one, many years ago, I went to Telok Intan, and we have two Telok Intan devotees here. A few years ago, there one old lady died. Then they told me, a few days before she died, she was crying. They asked her why. She said, who has stolen my clothes? I'm naked. She saw herself naked, but everybody saw she was not naked. She was crying because she had turned into this naked ghost. Then after that, she died. So they asked me why. This lady has been chanting Amitavud for 30 over years. You chant Amitavud 30 over years, you don't change your character inside. No point. I have a relative, also a distant relative. He changed his religion from a Taoist to another religion. Every day pray. Very happy. After 10 years, he got cancer. Then, a few days before he died, he kept seeing ghosts. Then he asked the pastor, why he keeps seeing ghosts? Because he's supposed to go to heaven. Couldn't answer him. So, just before he died, he shouted, he don't believe anymore. So that's why Buddhism is so important. Buddhism is a DIY religion. Do it yourself. Nobody can help you. We have to change our character for the better. Then only we go to a better place. Nobody can help you on. The Buddha said, I only show the way. You have to practice yourself. Take the mic. The other brother there. Give him the mic. Give him the mic.
Reverend sir, correct me if I'm wrong. There is a so-called statement that it's a last thought moment, which is a predetermined of your subsequent rebirth. Can you explain further on the last thought moment?
This last thought moment, several religions believe in it. And in Buddhism, those people who follow Abhidhamma, they believe in it. And the reason they believe in it, there are two. One is they talk about rebirth linking consciousness, patisandhi citta. They say, when the person is dying, the moment he dies, the last thought, the last consciousness is linked to the next birth. Okay? So that's why they say the last thought is very important. Yeah. But not in the suttas. In the suttas, the last thought is not important. It is your character that is important. These people who study the Abhidhamma, they never investigate the suttas enough. That's why they don't find the contradiction. In the suttas, there is one sutta where a cousin of the Buddha by the name of Mahathera, he used to come to the monastery, which was several kilometers from town. He would go to the monastery to help do some work for the monks. And then he stay on at night and listen to the Dhamma discussion every night. And then at the end of the Dhamma discussion, maybe 10 o'clock at night, he'll walk back to the city, several kilometers away. And in those days, there were no street lights. And monasteries were in the forest. So he got to walk through the forest alone in the dark. So one day he asked the Buddha, I said, Bhagavan, I was thinking, every night I walk back alone like this. One night I might suddenly be killed by maybe some animal or a stray runaway horse or knocked down by a bull or killed by a bandit or something. So he thought at the last moment when he's dying, he's frightened. He asked the Buddha, I said, will I go to a bad rebirth? The Buddha said, don't worry, Mahanama. For a long time, you have taken refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. And the Buddha said, if a person has various good qualities like faith in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, he listens to the suttas, he keeps his sila, and several other good qualities, the Buddha said, he has an elevated mind, and that elevated mind will bring him to a good rebirth. So you see, even when you're dying, frightened, you don't go to a frightened place. Why? Because our normal concept, when a person is dying, and the doctor normally will touch your pulse, isn't it? If your heartbeat has stopped and your breathing has stopped, the doctor will say, this man is dead. Yeah, that is a normal concept of death, but not in Buddhism. In Buddhism, that's why a lot of people don't study the suttas. There's so much wealth of information in the sutta. The Buddha said, when a person dies, three things must stop. One is the vital energy. In Chinese, we say qi, qi. The second one, the mind must stop working. The third one, the body heat must dissipate totally. The first two, you can't tell. So normally, after a person is pronounced dead by the doctor, you feel the corpse is still warm, But then, because the doctor says this person has died, if you are in the hospital, they will push the corpse into the cold room. But sometimes it happens, after 2 weeks when they take out the corpse is still alive. And it has happened that sometimes they bury the corpse and the fellow wakes up alive in the coffin, Several years ago, I was in Singapore to give some Dhamma talks. And then a devotee told me there's a place somewhere Woodlands there. They wanted to develop, so they had to clear the cemetery. So normally relatives want the remains. They want to burn the remains and keep. So they had to dig up the coffin one by one. They call it exhume. Exhume the coffin. So they had to open the coffin one by one. One of the coffins they opened, they saw scratch marks. So imagine if you are buried in the coffin and you wake up one day, you find yourself in a dark place and you feel all around, hey, how come I am closed in a wooden box? How do you feel? Panic, isn't it? Panic. And he tried to come out, scratch. So these things happen. So that's why it's good to know that three things must stop. So what happens normally is that after the doctor says that person has died, it may be 4 or 5 hours before that person actually dies. And during these 4 or 5 hours, the 5 senses have closed. It's not aware of seeing, not aware of hearing, not aware of smell, taste, touch. Only the mind is working. And the mind is working like in a dream, You have no control. You have no control. What you dream is your everyday mind. If a person is a gangster, always thinking of fighting, those last moments, he'll be fighting. And might be reborn as an animal. If you are practicing Buddhist, you meditate, you keep your sila, you listen to the suttas, your mind is peaceful because every day you're cultivating your mind to be peaceful. And at that time when you're dying, you have a very peaceful mind. One of our Buddhists in Penang told me the mother died of cancer. Normally, when a person dies of cancer, sometimes the tumor bursts. So very painful. So when the mother died, the face was in pain. The doctor said the mother died. 1 or 2 hours later, when she looked at her mother, she said the mother's face changed. Changed until it became so peaceful, so bright, so happy. I mean, she had a good heart. As I mentioned just now, some people, when they are going to the ghost realm, their face will change, become a ghost face. So this dying is not so fast. That's why this last thought moment is not really that conscious moment. It's not that conscious moment. You have no control. Where you go depends on your karma. Depends on your character. Your karma is your actions that determine your habits. Your habit patterns determine your character.
In the case of poverty, not claim that sees relative, keep on coming back, is that him. There anything to be done, without the problem.
Yes. When these beings come back, it usually means they are reborn as a ghost and they are desperate for help. So they are so desperate that they will come again and again. So if a person is not a practicing Buddhist, he does not learn the Dhamma, he doesn't know what to do. I know a case, somebody told me, a neighbor, it's a Christian house. The mother died. After the mother died, some being came back to the house. The children all got scared, move away. This is normally what happens. People think there's some foreign spirit, foreign devil come to disturb them. They better move away. But they don't realize it's their own relative coming for help. Sometimes even after 10 years, they come back for help when they know there is hope. So you must, what does a ghost need? A ghost doesn't want you to do a lot of chanting. A lot of people don't understand, they do a lot of chanting, they think want to help. People in Africa are very hungry. You go there, you do chanting for them, they want or not? They want food. So ghosts, mainly, the main concern is food. Secondly, some of them, they require clothing. Or some are born naked. So these two things only important. So you have to do these two things. And it's good to offer to the Sangha. So if you want to do them, you want to do this offering for them, normally I tell people, so if you want to do on a Sunday, for example, you want to do on a Sunday, this dana to the monastery, Saturday night, Friday night, Thursday night, you must tiam hyo, right? The incense, put it outside your house, in the earth, and tell your departed relatives, all your departed relatives, because the Buddha said we have a lot of departed relatives in the ghost realm. Tell them that you want to do dana on Sunday, do on their behalf, and transfer the merit to them. So by giving them notice, they know, so on Sunday they come, waiting for the merit. So you know that they keep on coming and you do nothing, it's very cruel, isn't it? I have a devotee, he was not a Buddhist before, then he became a Buddhist and started coming to the monastery, and then he started asking me about Dhamma, asked me a lot of questions. I used to teach him. After a few months, Chinese New Year came, the sister went back to the mother's house, the mother's old house. And after the sister went back to the house, the spirit entered her. entered her and started calling this man's name. So this man, the mother got alarmed, got a shock. Then the mother asked this spirit, who are you? And then he said his name. Actually, it's the son. The son, 10 years ago, at the age of 20-something, he used to join bad company, drink liquor. One day, he was half drunk, coming back on the motorcycle, got hit by a lorry and rolled over, and he died. So now, he comes back, calling the brother's name. Then the mother didn't know what to do, like a lot of people. You don't study the suttas, you don't know what to do. So the mother said, you please go back. Then she realized it's the son who died 10 years ago. Then he told the son, he said, you please go back, wherever you came from, you go back there. So the son saw that she cannot help, so this ghost left. So after this, the devotee went home, then he heard this. Next day he came to ask me. So I laughed at him. I said, you see, your brother, 10 years, never looked for you. Now you learning the Dhamma, ada harapan. So come looking for you. So you see, when they know there is some hope, they come. If there is no hope, they won't come. And there is another case in Tapala. One lady, 45 years old, accident with the son in the car, 15 years old, both died. And after that, they employed some, what they call Sai Kong, Lamolo, this Taoist, laymen, to come to do chanting 2 nights. On the second night, so many people in the house, these Taoists were doing the chanting. Only 3 people heard the ghost crying. Why so many people in the house never heard? Only 3 people heard. Why? Because these 3 people are close to that ghost. So that ghost will only look for somebody who thinks may help. Won't go to anybody one. There are a lot of ghosts on the street. They won't come to you because they think you won't help them. If they think you will help them, they will come to you. Okay?
Permission to speak.
Yeah.
Brothers and sisters, in view of the time, maybe we will just take another 1 or 2 more short questions for Bhante, and we will complete the day. We will stop where the thing is going on. Don't worry, ada harapan lagi. Tomorrow, we still have Bhante around at 2 o'clock, 2:30. We still can ask questions. At 9, we still have Bhante.
Not 2 o'clock, isn't it? 12:30 to 1:30, is it?
And Sunday we still have Bhante around. So probably 1 or 2 more questions. Bhante, I just want to ask regarding the Dhammavuddho going to the room, how do they choose going to which room? Is it because of person's karma or based on karma? Or how do they actually categorize which room do they go to?
From the suttas, which womb they go to, it seems like devas can choose. Devas, they have psychic powers. But if you are a human being and you die, not sure how. Could be somebody you have affinity to, or could be somebody that is near to the place where that person died. That is not so important. Important is our character. What type of character we have will determine. One more question?
Brother Danny, you wanted to ask some questions?
Excuse me, buddy. I just want to clarify on the 4 stages of enlightenment. There are 4 pairs of these same group people, 4 pairs. So, like as we are practicing the Dhamma, we basically understand we considered one of the four pairs.
These four pairs, are you talking about the first path, first fruit, second path, second fruit, third path? Huh?
Yeah, the marker and palm.
Yeah.
So as we are practicing Buddhist, observe the step and do this according to the Dhamma. So are we one of these four pairs?
Not necessary. Firstly, to be the first pair, this stream, first path or first fruit, you don't need any jhana. What you need is right view, and that comes from listening to the early suttas of the Buddha in the 5 Nikayas, learning them again and again, either listening to because in my Dhamma talks, all the 5 Nikayas I have spoken. So either listening to those suttas again and again until you understand, or reading the Nikayas. But if you read the Nikaya books, it's harder to understand. Because I explain, after I read the suttas, I explain, and then I compare it with other suttas to make things clearer. Because some people told me they start to read and they find they cannot understand. But when they listen to my suttas, they understand. So the first path and the first fruit is by listening to the suttas. But the second path and second fruit, you must have either the first or the second or the third jhana, which is difficult to get. And then for the third and the fourth fruit, you need 4 jhanas, which is even harder to get. So nowadays, Anagamin and the third fruit and the fourth fruit, Arahant, almost impossible to find. But of course, there are some people, they claim they are Arahant, they are third fruit and all that, and they don't even have any jhana. Or they have the wrong type of jhana. Okay? So you can save your questions for tomorrow.